That's a big fish. I could almost reach down and grab its mouth. Do you have a calamari? There's a catfish here. It's big. It's 140 pounds plus. It is 2 feet beneath me. The bank goes down here. I am looking into its mouth. I could almost reach down and touch it. Well, the fish has backed off. I think he could see me. I'm going to throw this really hard. No reaction. No reaction. The fish is just melting away backwards. This is a really rare sight. That fish is 7 foot long. It's about 140 pounds at least. And it was in the margins, and I could see the whole fish. There it is. That's a sight. That is a rare sight. That is a big fish. If I got down on my knees then, I could have patted him on the head. Mouth like that, right underneath me. And looking down on its back, this wonderful like camo pattern, this disruptive sort of black and white. Threw a stone to see if there'd be a reaction. No, he just reversed back and then under the boat and away. I really like seeing fish like that. It's fantastic, really good. Any other fish would have been spooked off by that stone. It would have disappeared in a flash. And that guy is not even a really big one. But enough of the small fry. Now it's time to tackle the real giants. I'm on the banks of the River Ebro in Spain, hunting down giant Wells catfish. They're estimated to put on up to 10 pounds a year. If that's true, it won't be long before an Ebro Wells reaches the man-eating proportions of medieval folklore. If I'm after a man-eater, I need to catch, at the very least, a man-sized fish, one that falls on the fat side of 150 pounds. It's time to rig up. Rather than casting, we drop our baits over 100 yards out, just short of the sunken trees along the flooded river channel. Take up the slack. Then, with the high-tech alarms set, I can enjoy the Spanish sun. And now we wait. This is not my preferred fishing technique. I like to feel the line, be in contact with the bait. But Wells are not delicate feeders. And besides, it's hot here.
Yes, here.
And it's about to get hotter. That's taking line. This is my first super-sized Spanish Wells. Get a bit of speed on. And immediately it feels seriously big. Just physical stuff. Whoa. A serious burst from that fish when it first took. It's actually taking line when I struck. My forearm is almost cramping up. So good sign. We've got a fish, and that is a big fish. As I can bring him back. Yeah. I'm moving on the other side. These Spanish Wells are hunting in broad daylight. They really are breaking their programming. And these fish even seem used to being handled. My first fish is 140 pounds and measures 6 foot 9 inches. If these fish are putting on 10 pounds a year, then in 20 years, this already massive creature could weigh as much as 340 pounds, more than double its present size. And if they do live until 80 years, I'll let you do the maths. The only thing that will restrict them is food. But there is one food supply here that is in huge quantities. Other catfish. The Wells is not just a man-eater, it's a cannibal.
I was fishing on the upper lake last year with 3 gentlemen, and we hooked a fish. It vomited, it was sick. This fish was about 160 pounds. I returned to where he was sick and pulled out a catfish skull and the actual rib cage still attached. And we estimated this to be a catfish of between 40 and 50 pounds. So it goes to show you the eating capacity of the catfish.
Just get a sort of a cool scientific look at this animal. I mean, the first thing, it's obviously the thing to do, start at the business end, the head. You've got, the main thing is just this very, very wide mouth, about 10 inches across on this animal. And you've got needle-like teeth. They are sharp as well. You put your hand in there and they'll draw blood. But in terms of getting a grip, just perfect. If they clamp down tight with those sort of jaw muscles, you're not going to get out of that. They're just purpose-built for lurking on the bottom and grabbing stuff that comes above them. And they're going to know that stuff is there, the prey, because their eyes are on top of the head. But more to the point, they've got these, and these are just, this is like sort of extrasensory perception. You can tell what's going on in the water. These will pick up vibrations and also chemicals in very sort of, very, very sensitive, very small quantities in both cases. On the side, you've got very pronounced on this animal, you've got the lateral line, and this is their super organ, super touch organ. It just picks up vibrations in the water, often again at a very low level. And also you can see here these sort of marks on the skin. Now I think these are probably wounds from another fish, possibly when this fish was spawning, and they got a little bit too rough and a little bit sort of over enthusiastic. Stomach here, that's the vent there. So actually if it swallows something, this fish could potentially swallow something that long. It goes to the back of the throat, which is here. It opens up this sort of sphincter muscle there, and it could swallow something about 2 foot long.
So no problem accommodating those medieval accounts of babies and small children in the belly of the beast. It looks like Wells catfish can swallow prey roughly 1/3 of their own body length. So if these fish in the Ebro keep on growing, it's possible that they could reach a size where they will have man-eating potential. Fact is following close on the heels of what was once thought to be fiction.
Looking at this fish, it is the perfect predator. They do eat anything, literally anything, but they are perfectly equipped to predate and also to come from underneath. That is just a mouth on the end of a solid, sinuous piece of muscle. Anyway, I can't hold him much longer.
Wells, like all catfish, can live quite a long time out of water if kept cool and wet. This guy seems quite reluctant to leave.
Should I leave him there or just walk him out?
In a split second, the fish turns. I'm just quick enough to escape.
That was the first catfish attack on a human on camera. I was just wondering, is he going to move? And he did sort of double round. And I have those stories of them actually having a bite of somebody who's caught them, so I thought, that's not going to happen to me. There's no mark there, but it has happened.
I fish on into darkness, and I get another surprise.
That's just pulled me on my arse. Fish on. Me pull towards the water. I thought I was going to go in. There's nothing. That's a sizable fish.
With so many fishermen around, the only inconvenience these fish suffer for their midnight feasts is a little bit of manhandling. Imagine being in a river at night with one of these things swimming around your legs.
I don't know how big it is yet. I can see it's big.
All right. Yeah, good.
148, I think. 147. 147. I'm a little bit shell-shocked. This was this fish. I've got gravel rash on my backside. I hit into the thing and I was just sliding towards the river on my rear end and managed to stop myself against a bit of a slab. And it was real tug of war. But nice to see a fish like this. It really is. And they grow bigger than this. They are getting on for twice this weight in this water here, which is something to think about. What that must feel like on the end of the line, I don't know. wide. It's about 9 inches, isn't it? This fish is almost as heavy as I am. I mean, this is quite a monstrous beast. And the power as well, I felt the power. The thing nearly pulled me in the river. So, you know, definitely a fierce predatory animal, and some of these stories about them maybe attacking swimmers, I don't know, I couldn't believe them now, having actually seen a sizable one of these things actually up close.
I'm still short of my target 150-pound beast. These creatures really are ugly out of the water. I want to see them in their natural element. But that means getting into the water. The tables are about to turn. Cameraman Simon and I are going to try an experiment. I want to see and film a Wells catfish underwater. I want to see exactly how Europe's biggest freshwater predator operates in its element.
What I really want to see is the moment when the Wells gets to strike its prey. It isn't going to be easy. This is something that very, very few people get to see. But I do have a few ideas about what I can use to tempt the fish in.
This is the camera, and this is what's going to be behind the boat, and about 3 feet behind this is going to be the lure. So it's going to be looking back. The thing is, this is actually quite a lump of a camera, even though it's a small camera. So I think, here we go, size got, here we go. Flotation,
2 if we need them.
2 tanks, and to stop it wibble-wobbling around a little bit, because we're angling, there we go, one of those, and that will just keep it flying straight and level. And we'll lob that off the back of the boat, and we'll see the lure, and hopefully we'll see something come up and grab the bait. I'll need to hang on, otherwise, you know, if something big takes this, you know, the whole monitor could go overboard.
This is actually working really well. I've got the lure in picture. It's bang in the middle of the screen. I'm actually watching. You know, normally it's just there and you've no idea what's happening. I can actually see my lure out behind the boat. A fish, I think it was a carp. Yeah. Oh, we're bumping over the bottom. Oh dear, what's going on there? Right, need to, in a bit.
No, it's bumping, it's bumping. I've lost the lure, haven't I? I've lost the lure. I think the camera might have been bashed around a bit, though. Not robust enough, unfortunately, to withstand being bashed along the bottom. But other than that, actually doing very well. Before that, there was this grey shadow that appeared from nowhere, which sort of came and went, and it could have been a catfish investigating it and shying off at the last minute, or it could have just been a rock going past, I don't know. What I'm about to see is another unexpected aspect of these fish's behaviour. What we're doing is we're doing something called clonking, and it's sending a sound wave down into the water, and we can see on the sonar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah.
Direct on your lures.
Oh, there it is. I've got it. There's a catfish. There's a catfish. Yeah, it's right under the lure.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I see him on the sonar.
Yeah. There he is, tentacles. Yeah. Right, what's happened now? And it's coming up now, right in the middle of the screen. Fantastic. Look at that, he's attacking the camera. What this has just demonstrated is that when you've got splashing, when you've got commotion on the surface, the catfish, which, you know, they live on the bottom, they will come up to investigate. Ah, yes. Bottom of the screen. There it is. Look at that. There it is. Oh, he's come off. This is amazing. Getting a fish on camera taking a bait, attracted in by sound and vibration. Like sharks to a plane crash, these fish fear nothing. It even attacks the camera. It's been really good, though, just to actually see what I've seen on the screen. Very, very rare to see this fish behaviour. So I feel sort of quite privileged to have seen that.
Although we didn't get a fish into the boat, I actually feel it was a successful day because I feel that I've actually learnt a lot about the behaviour particularly how they react to vibration, to commotion on the surface. Here's this fish that lives on the bottom, but if it hears something, it comes up and the tentacles are waving and it investigates. Without the camera under the water, you just assume that nothing is happening. As soon as you put the camera there, dangling under the boat, you're making the noise with the clonk, they're coming up into the middle of the water and they want to know what's going on.
Everything I've seen so far, the reaction of the Wels catfish to a bait in the water, confirms its aggression as a top predator and also its fearlessness. Combine that with super sizing and you've got a creature that you really wouldn't want to get too close to in the water.
What I want to know now is just how big a Wels would need to be to tackle me in the water. I've said they look like giant slugs, but in their element they're like super sensitive sharks. Time for another experiment. Like most people, if I jump in the water, I don't sink, I float, even after a heavy lunch. And it's not too difficult. I'm flapping my arms a little bit and my legs, but the question is, how big would a fish need to be to pull me under? Right, I've got one dive weight on at the moment, 4.5 pounds, and I can support it actually. That's harder, it's harder, 9 pounds now. Doubling the rate of paddling, but I can still just about keep myself on the surface. Right, I can support 9 pounds with a bit of flapping and flailing of my legs. We've just weighed this rock. This is going to make it up to 20 pounds. I'll just see how I do against that combined weight in the water. That was actually very interesting. 20 pounds of weight attached to me. I could just about keep my head above water. It was a struggle. I reckon another 5 pounds and I'd have just gone, no matter how much my arms and legs would have been flailing around. And that's interesting, because if you ask most people how big a fish would have to be to pull a body underwater, they'd say probably, something about the same size as that person. Now, I weigh about 175 pounds, and on land I can take care of myself, but in the water, a fish would just have to exert a pull of 25 pounds, about 1/7 of my body weight, and I wouldn't stand a chance. I'd just be gone. And if I took a lungful of water underneath there, then nobody would ever see me again. Okay, that just goes to show that it doesn't need to be a huge fish to pull me under. Let's have a closer look at pulling power. That 147 pounder pulled me off my feet and almost into the water. How much force can I generate? I couldn't even pull in our director, and she's half my weight. She's a match for me even one-handed.
So I could be pulled under the water by a fish just half my size, 75 to 100 pounds. And the thing about the Ebro is that the river is just full of fish that size and much bigger, which possibly explains why you don't see very many people swimming.
And I'm starting to get seriously worried. Even if I'm on land, how am I going to do in a one-on-one fight against a 200-pounder? With only a few days left in northern Spain, I'm trying to break the 150-pound marker that I have set myself. My respect for these fish over the past few days has really grown. If this one pulls me over, I'm in real trouble.
I was nearly tipping forward over that edge. I was going a little bit. My groin is starting to ache. Strong fish. The rod's jammed in. This is physical stuff. Physical work. It's coming up. Strong fish. But I think it's tiring. Tiring, tiring. There it is. There's the fish. Hey. Good grief. My crutch is killing me. And there it is.
But does it weigh more than 150 pounds?
The measure of the beast, that is 7 foot 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 foot 4 inches.
And then you open the mouth.
You can actually hear the echo coming out of the mouth there. Hello, hello. And I can see its gullet opening and closing. If I was so inclined, I could put my fist down there quite easily. That is an eating machine. The whole thing is nearly 8 foot of just solid rippling muscle. If that grabbed hold of your leg, that's an unpleasant enough thought, but if that decided not to let go and you were swimming, you'd be history. I'm about 175 pounds on a good day or a bad day, depending how you look at it. This fish could be more than that. Yeah. 74 kilos, that's about 163 pounds. Not quite as big and fat and ugly as I am. What I find really hard to credit is that I was doing those experiments where I was trying to see how much force I could exert in the water, and there was somebody on the bank with a spring balance just hooked around their finger reading off, okay, 30 or 40 pounds. This thing in the water was almost pulling me off the bank. I was having to dig in and really act like I was in a tug of war. How something with nothing solid to actually grab hold of can exert that force in the water, you know, I find quite mind-boggling. It is very, very impressive indeed.
And now it's time to let this guy go. Let's see how he reacts.
Fish has recovered a bit, maybe a bit more than I have. I'm going to put it back in the water. If it does have a go at me, I'm going to actually stand my ground and see if it, a bit like an elephant, see if it's a false charge or will it actually go and grab my leg. This is what I'm trying to remember, that this fish is bigger than I am. It's got a few inches on me. I've got a few pounds on this fish, but I'm in the water. My extra weight actually counts for nothing. It's the fish's environment sinking down towards my foot. I think my reflexes overruled what I was wanting to do, which was stand my ground, but I can visualise it too much, what might be going on down there, what might be going through its mind, so don't tangle with these guys in their environment is the message. It's 112 pounds with the net. We've got to deduct a little bit for that, but that's well clear of 100 pounds. Okay, and then up. Okay.